It's 8:17 with the morning majority. Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson, Karen Hanratty is in for Mary Catherine this morning.
And there's going to be another debate. All of the Republicans who want to be president gathering in one place to be questioned. This time it's being sponsored by CNN, the Heritage Foundation, and the American Enterprise Institute. The moderator of said debate happens to be on the phone with us right now. Wolf Blitzer joins us. How are you, Wolf?
Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks very much for inviting me.
Well, it's good to have you. National security, foreign policy, and the economy. That's a lot of territory to cover. I want to also start by noting that there's a new CNN poll out that shows, again, sort of adds to the other polls that we've seen, that shows the ascendancy of Newt Gingrich. Your thoughts on that?
Newt Gingrich has done really, really amazing, considering so many of us last summer when he announced, and then there was all that Tiffany credit card stuff
right.
that he had. Then after a couple of weeks on the campaign trail, he went for a couple of weeks to the Eastern Mediterranean on a cruise. Most of his staff in New Hampshire quit. Everybody thought it was over, but he has come back dramatically in our new CNN ORC poll.
Hey.
Nationally among Republicans, he's ahead of Romney, statistically tied within the margin of error, but he's doing really amazingly well. And if you look at some of the early states, especially Iowa and South Carolina, and to a certain degree New Hampshire even, where Romney is very strong, he's doing really well. And I think the debates, these 10 debates or so that have already occurred, have really helped him, because all of us, and I know you have, we've all covered Newt Gingrich on the Hill when he was Speaker, and since then, he's obviously a very smart guy.
Were you surprised on another network yesterday that Rick Perry said that he would be in favor of a no-fly zone in Syria? I think he's the first candidate to say such a thing. It's a bold step to take at this time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, are coming around to the conclusion what's going on in Syria. 3,500 largely peaceful protesters have been killed, and they're looking at what happened in Libya to Gaddafi, and they're saying, well, maybe that model should be used in Syria. Now, there are a lot of differences and a lot greater, stakes, I suspect, in Syria. But people are coming around. I asked Susan Rice, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations yesterday on my show, about using that Libya model and a no-fly zone. Would she go to the UN Security Council and ask for a resolution to try to create a no-fly zone over Syria, like the U.S. and the others did in as far as Libya is concerned? And she made it clear that there's two members of the Security Council right now who would veto it, Russia and China. And they didn't do that as far as Libya was concerned, but they are saying that they would do that as far as Syria is concerned. So a resolution from the UN Security Council is unlikely, at least now.
Wolf, it strikes me that right now, the United States as a whole, I think, lacks a real foreign policy doctrine. And Democrats may disagree with that. But I'm looking at the debate coming up tonight, and I'm not sure really what the Republican foreign policy doctrine is. It seems like, the Bush doctrine is in free fall after Iraq. And how much clarity do you anticipate that we'll be able to get from these candidates tonight from this debate?
Well, I'm hoping we'll get some better understanding of where these 8 candidates stand, where they agree with each other, where they disagree with each other on national security and foreign policy. They all disagree with the President of the United States. We know that. But maybe we'll get some more clarity on some of these sensitive issues involving, as you say, Libya and Iraq and Afghanistan, all these, wars that the United States has been in, still is in. You're right. There are differences. Ron Paul, he's way out on a lot of these issues compared to these other Republican candidates. But if you take a look at John Huntsman versus Mitt Romney, or Rick Perry for that matter, there are significant differences there as well. So we'll try to see what we can do in getting a better appreciation of where they stand. And if there's a consensus, that's fine. If there's disagreements, then at least voters will go into the caucuses in Iowa and the primary in New Hampshire and have a better understanding of who might be the next commander-in-chief.
All right, so as you sit down with the other folks who are going to be asking questions, and as the moderator, have you thought about what area that you really want to focus like a laser beam on? What's the thing that you sort of are gunning to ask the candidates?
There's no issue more important for a president of the United States than the national security of the country. And the economy certainly is a national security issue. Admiral Mullen, the retired chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said just before he stepped down that the number one national security issue facing the country right now is the economy, the increasing debt, if there's a European collapse, spill over here in the United States, how would that affect America's national security? So we're going to get into that, but we'll also get into a lot of the other detailed, substantive foreign policy, national security issues of the day. So, but you'll have to watch and see, but I think you'll enjoy.
All right, Wolf, good to have you on. Thanks always for coming in. We'll be watching 8 o'clock tonight on CNN.